Technology magic happen. And today is Thursday, August 10th, 2023. Never before has there ever been, nor will there ever be, a day quite like this one. And we're glad to be together for some card making.
For one
My name
thing,
is Missy Shipman.
for one thing, it's my birthday.
Oh, Julia, happy birthday.
Thank you. So
Oh,
I was going to make some cards tonight for all my relatives that have birthdays in the same month I do.
oh, marvelous. Very, very good. Well, you'll be able to, one is a holiday card, but the other things you can certainly make into birthday cards. That's wonderful. Happy, happy, happy birthday to Julia. We are going to be doing some fun crafting together tonight. We have a little taste of Christmas in this summer month. We're going to do a little bit of Christmas tags, holiday tags. And so in your kit, you'll have materials to make one of these three different choices. And we'll start with that. But first, let me give you a teaser of the other projects tonight. This one is a card. You'll have, again, one of these three different variations, but it's very similar supplies and mood of card. And what I love about these is they're dry embossed, so they have that marvelous texture already starting right in the card base. And so, Julia, whichever one you have, you could flip over your label if you wanted to write happy birthday or have a different message, or just make it floral and then add. Although these would all be great for birthday greetings too. Hello, I'm just so lucky to know you, and I appreciate you more than you know. So that'll be a card we'll do. And then we're going to finish up tonight with a fun fold that opens up like this. And so you all have the supplies, and I'll show you a couple of variations of this. And this is a card that's similar to a card that I made for Julia recently to thank her for the amazing book recommendation. A couple months ago, we were talking about favorite books, and Julia shared the author Viola Davis with me, who I just have really, really, really enjoyed. Fiona Davis. Viola is the actress, I think, right? It's Fiona Davis. And they're great historical fiction books. I read 5 of them. I don't know if there's any more in the library to read, but I've really enjoyed them. So I made a little special card for Julia that is similar to this, where it opens up, but I wanted even more pages to make it like a book for her, to thank her. So her example has a few more score lines. And what I did was glue the card together, the back sides, so that they would flip like book pages. So you've got some variations, of course, and we'll finish the night with this one. But let's begin first with our little holiday tag. Now, what I love about these is these are a great size either to put on a holiday tree. You can have it be a display item, make a banner with them, or have it be on your holiday tree. But it has a little pocket for a gift card. So often we love to give gift cards. People love to receive gift cards, but it's fun to kind of personalize it, to dress it up a little bit for the presentation. So in your kit, you'll find one in a nice cello bag like this, all the supplies, and we'll start with that one. I'm giving you a little sneak peek tonight of a new stamp set that will be available to customers in September. It's called Festive and Fun, and we'll be using some of the greetings from this stamp set. But take a look at those marvelous little animals, all doing happy holiday things, eating and decorating and outside sledding, and it's a lot of fun. So Julia, if you want to just highlight my hands now, it'll make the picture bigger. So they can just see what we'll be making tonight. Okay. Now I'm going to leave all 3 here so that you can see whichever kit you have. The assembly is very similar. It just has different colors. So let's go ahead. I'm going to make the one that's the deer one, that deer antler. I'll start with that one. So save this little nice cellophane bag. It's great to keep little odds and ends in. You can actually mail a card inside this, but you have to put extra postage because it's that cellophane. But you can put a standard size card if you want to use this as an envelope. It's really fun to receive these in the mail because you can see through and you can see the package. So what I would do if I were to mail this is I would write the address on the back of the card right in here. And then in the return address as well. And then I'd seal that up. And then you need a postage stamp plus the extra ounce. So you could go to the post office, they'll help you do that. But because it's cellophane, it needs additional postage. And what fun to receive that for your friend to get that in their mailbox. It's just a really dressed up way to do that. So this is the adhesive will stick and restick several times on this if you want to repurpose it.
I didn't realize that that was legal, but it makes sense as long as the address and the stamp are clear.
Exactly. Yep. You just make sure the stamp is on the outside. You can write the address on the inside, but have the postage stamp on the outside so that it can be canceled. And it's a fun way to receive mail. So you'll see that in your little tag kit there, the stencil part has not been popped up yet. So we're gonna carefully pop out that, whether you have your tree, your star, or your deer, your tree, or your star, you want to pop that part out. Okay, and you can save that for another project. It also, if you were to do when you mail a card, you could glue this onto the outside of the envelope as a decoration, or have it as a little confetti inside a card. Might be kind of fun. There also are some little holes to poke out the top where the strings will go. And so you'll see each kit has the tag, the little gift card pocket, a long strip for our sentiment, a circle, and that will put on a little tag on the envelope. So I chose the greeting from that new stamp set, a little something for you with lots of love from me. This is also a good place if you have a to from stamp, you can put to and from, or just any kind of message. So we'll be doing some stamping on these two pieces. And then you have some kind of die cut element, either the branches for the deer, or the star one has this pretty sort of holly berry kind of cutout. And the Christmas tree one has some pine boughs. And they're all very similar in that they have this base that can be glued. And then we're going to build up on it by adding our sentiment. Okay, so let's do the stamping first. I'm going to be using Memento ink tonight, the Tuxedo Black ink. It's my favorite neutral ink. And I'm going to, now we're used to using at library, so often we use the photopolymer stamps that are clear. So using the cling stamp, which is the red rubber, is a little bit trickier for me sometimes because I'm out of practice. I've been using the photopolymer now for a while, but when you borrow the stamps from the library, they are the red rubber with a wood block. So you're familiar with using those. And what we're going to do, because it has that foam under there, so if you have the wood blocks from the library that you're borrowing, or other stamps that have this foam, you don't need the foam underneath. That's really just necessary with photopolymer. So I'm removing that just to make sure I have a firm surface. And I'll line it up. And I'm going to flip it over. See how I was a little over to the edge? It just makes me laugh when that happens because it's really okay. But since I have two sides, just like two sides to every story, two sides to every paper, I can give it another chance. See how I do this time. That was better. A little something for you with lots of love from me. Okay. And now for the strip sentiment here, we're going to use the sentiment Happy Christmas wishes. In England, they say Happy Christmas instead of Merry Christmas. And I like that. So now we've got our Happy Christmas wishes. But you could handwrite a message. You could make it personalized with someone's name. That would be a fun way to have their tag be their name on here. And that'd be very clear who it's being gifted to. So now let's begin our assembly. We're going to take the two pieces that have the hole. And I call this a bookmark topper. What we're going to do is fold the thread in half. I'll move this back in because it's a little easier to see it against the dark background. Here we are. So we have the red. Some of you have red, some of you have green, okay, in your kit. And you're going to fold that in half. And then this loop end is the end we're going to insert through the 2 holes. It's easier for me to do one at a time. I'm going to do it first through the larger tag and then pull it through the gift card holder tag like this. And now I can open the loop and pull the tails through. So I call that a bookmark topper because often if you see a bookmark and there's some thread or yarn or tails, that's typically how it's attached. So I'll show you that one more time. You're going to take your floss and fold it in half. And then the loop end goes through the holes from the front, goes through both holes. And then, whoops, my threads are coming apart a little bit there. Okay, and then the tails come through the loop, okay? So this is ready. I can tie the ends here now if I want to. I could leave it without tying it so that I can attach a different way, but I'm gonna go ahead and kind of loop the top here. And that means it's ready to hang on a tree. That's how I think I'll use these this year, is with gift giving on the tree. Now it looks fun just like this, but we want to add a little bit more. Oh, and you know what I did? I did it backwards where the gift card, you can see. So I'm going to get to do this 3 times for each night. 3rd time's the charm. I'm going to turn it around because I want the gift card to be accessible easily in the back. Okay. So I'm going to flip that over and now I can do this one more time. Put through, the loop goes through the holes and then the tails come through the loop. There. And now I've got that clean, shiny embossed pattern showing through my hole. Okay. Now to do the layering, we want to first adhere the piece that has the flourish, right? The thin die cut. Most of them are going to be down low on the tag. The exception is the Christmas tree one. Because this pine bough is kind of extending up and down, I needed my banner to be more north, more toward the top of the tag. And so you just have to be careful in the back. You can see I put a little bit of glue here and then had to remove it. So trying to think really the best strategy for that might be, I'll demonstrate this. Let's go ahead and put with our dimensionals. Everybody has some dimensionals in their kit. Let's put 3 dimensionals across the banner. 1, 2, 3. And this case, the banner, the dimensionals are actually going to hold this decorative piece and the banner in place because I'll put it right on top. So it's anchoring, that center one is anchoring the flourish and the side 2 are anchoring it right to the tag. Then I don't have to worry about any adhesive showing through my hole. Okay. So you're going to have your supplies may look different, but you're going to use those same steps to assemble your pieces. And the back, I put my little circle on there with the dimensional. So I took it and put it right at the edge of where the card will be inserted, or cash or a love note or a photo. When our boys were little, we really loved giving photos to family members. And sometimes we put them in frames, but a lot of times we just people enjoyed having one for their wallet or for their refrigerator. So we didn't need to put them in a frame. This would be a great way to just give a little wallet size photo to a family member. If there's any questions, please let me know. Remember, you can unmute and ask me a question, or you can put something in the chat and then be happy to answer your questions. And if you're catching this later on replay, know that Julia and I do go back and see what questions or comments are there. And it's fun for me to read those. So go ahead and add comments or questions when it's posted on Facebook and YouTube. Next, let's go ahead and put together this really sweet card that I think would be lovely for Julia's birthday cards, or for a friendship card, or just an everyday appreciation card. Again, you'll have one of 3 different designs here. Let's make sure you can see all 3. 1, 2, 3. And they each have that embossed design on them, the white on white tone, which is really lovely. So let me get those for you here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Which one would you like me to demonstrate? Because they all have the same kind of pattern. Is there somebody here tonight that wants to work along with me and pick the card that will assemble? It's okay. They're all, you can see, very similar in that we have, there's a piece of sticker banner that goes across. There's a label that we put on, and then there's those floral embellishment pieces. So I'll leave those 3 here. So again, you're going to follow the steps with me based on which card kit you have in your stash. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Just Saying Hello kit. And this one has this pretty blue, it's called Pool Party, envelope, and the embossed white on white embossing. It's kind of an ivy pattern, maybe, or a little floral pattern. Very classy. And like I said, we've got a sticker piece. So you have either this blue piece or you have this green scallop piece.
Did you do the embossing on the sheets?
I did not actually. Stampin' Up did that for us. This was
That's what
part
I
of a
wondered.
kit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I actually still have a few more of these kits if it's one that appeals to people. The kits originally were sold with a beautiful lunchbox, a fabric, like little cooler. And so it was a fundraiser for food relief for families with food insecurity. So I have several. I purchased several to support the fundraiser. And so I do have several left. They're a really nice fabric, you know, like a little cooler. And then the cards, the set to make 9 cards. So if anybody's interested, let me know, and I'd be happy to get you more information about that. But this is a process, though, that I can do with our tools from Stampin' Up. Our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is able to make that kind of texture in the paper. So this was just a shortcut that part was done for me. Thank you for asking. Now the blue banner, the green, the blue, or the coral has sticky on it. It's an adhesive sticker. So you'll peel that off and you can put it right onto your card. I'm going to start there. Whichever card I'm working on, I would start with that sticker piece. And then the next piece would be adhering the sentiment. And that's going to make sure we have it centered the way we want. And we're going to pop it up with some dimensionals. Which way is the card fold? Oh, great. Okay. So Lisa's asking, the hello and the lucky ones are folded. So they're a portrait. They're taller this way. The one Appreciate You More Than You Know is a landscape card. It's folded. So wherever that fold is, I mean, you could still make them the opposite way. These don't have a specific up and down embossing pattern. Oh, the dimple pimple part. Well, in this case, it's easy. Actually, no, you're right. They look the same on both sides, don't they? Okay, let me pull one out and show you. That's a great reminder. I understand your question now, Lisa. Thank you. So in the card, when it's been scored, there's a line that's debossed, right? It's pushed down. It's underneath there. That's the fold. Yeah, that's the innie, and the other side is the outie. So my friend Meg says we're going to hide the pimple, show the dimple. So the dimple is where it goes down like this. That's going to be the fold that's the outside. The pimple, or the part that's kind of raised on the inside, that's raised up, that's the inside of your card. So I hope that helps. Thanks for that clarification. You really could go either way. A lot of times if you score, folding it one way or the other, it doesn't make a big difference. This is quality cardstock, and it's folded with the grain. So there's not going to be that kind of tearing that can happen. When you work paper against the grain, you're trying to kind of force it into a way it's not as comfortable, and it will then typically have some kind of wrinkles or almost little tears. So yes, show the dimple, hide the pimple. The part that's bumped up is going to be inside your card. Okay, So now we're going to head back here to our adding our label. Whatever your greeting is the next step here. Okay. And I'm going to use some dimensionals. Now, frequently, most often when I do dimensionals, I put them near the edges of the element. In this case, though, do you see how things are tucking underneath? Each of the card has some elements that are tucked underneath. And so if my dimensional was too close to the edge, the flower wouldn't go in. It would get jammed. So I'm going to put my dimensionals, I'm going to use 4. I'm going to put them more into the center of the shape, regardless of which shape you have. You don't want them to be right around the edge. Normally, though, I would go closer to the edge. So we'll remove the backing. There we are. And then we can make sure it's the right side up. And this kit was special too, because it came with different languages. So if you speak French or German or Dutch, you would have the just saying hello in those other languages. And that's kind of fun too. It'll sort of be might be a little bit of a mystery card. They'd have to do some Googling, Google Translator to find out what the greeting was. So then I just I treat this sort of like a collage, and yours doesn't have to look the same as mine or as my sample, but I basically want to kind of create a little wreath of floral, a balanced floral piece, kind of like a wreath. And so I'm going to have one, up in the upper left, one kind of in the bottom right to kind of balance those. And then I can think about where I want my leaves to be. I'm laying them out before I glue them. I just want to first kind of take a test run. So I'm just sort of stretching out where I think things might look balanced. I've got these 2 little forget-me-not blues. So again, I'm going to balance those. All right. So same with these other ones, the Just So Lucky, that's the square. They kind of go in the rule of 3s. So there's the triangle shape with those blossoms. And in this one, again, it's opposite the yellow one. It's upper left, lower right. Here it's upper right, lower left. So you get to decide as the artist how you want to combine them. I think this card in particular would also look really pretty if all the flowers were down near the bottom. I think that would just be another way to set it up. Or if you decided to make it a portrait card, you can decide how you want to add your blossoms. Now I know that I want these 2 blue ones to kind of be popped up. So I'm going to use the dimensionals for those. But my other pieces, I want them to stay flat to the embossing. And so my Tombow glue, my green glue, is going to work best for this. When paper is textured, like these bases with the embossing on them, sometimes it's harder to get the glue to grip because it's got these ups and downs. So this green, what we call green glue because of the packaging, because the lid is green, our multi-purpose glue is a strong adhesive, stronger than like a, well, Elmer's is pretty strong, but this has more staying power than an Elmer's glue or a school glue. As you know, this is my preferred glue for when I do 3D items, 3-dimensional gift items or treat pouches. I like to use that glue. And I'm just putting a little bit, remember, dot, dot, not a lot, just a little thread of the glue. If you get too much, you can pick up another piece. Like I say, I already glued those down, but you could pick up another piece and kind of wipe some of the glue off from that if you get too much, or wipe it on a piece of scrap paper. You don't want it to be big blobs that will come out. Even though it dries clear, it's a little bit tacky, and it will pick up lint or hair or something, and it would likely, compromise your project a little bit. So now we'll add these forget-me-nots. I call them forget-me-nots. I think they're a little larger maybe than forget-me-nots, but I love a little pop of blue flower, no matter what other flower colors you have. Now this one of these things is not like the other, right? What did we not add yet? What is missing? You should have in your envelope these little
Little
pearls.
sparklies.
Yeah, some gems or embellishments, right? So these are little champagne pearls. You have 6 in your kit, and I like to use odd numbers. So I would either do 3 or 5, but they're yours. You can use them any way you like.
The
If you do
magical
3,
triangle.
indeed. And if
This
you
is
have
magical
3,
triangle.
1, 2, 3, that's right. That makes your eyes move around the card when you do things in a triangle shape. So if I were doing 5, well, a nice thing about 3 is then you've got 3 for another project. But if you want to do 5, I would kind of distribute so it's 3 and 2. But again, you're wanting there to be that movement around the card rather than grouping them all in one section. Okay. So that's our assembly card tonight. We didn't do any stamping. We just did our putting together with the adhesives. And
Can you put the tag in the picture with those two?
sure, these tags, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll move that one because we don't need 2 of those. Here's 2 of these,
Okay.
and here's 3 of these.
Aha.
Okay. So, and I can happily post some pictures of these 2 in the comments of the Facebook page when we're done, so that you can see some still pictures of them as well.
Yeah, it was
when
actually because I'm working with you and I was still working on the tag, so I wanted
Oh,
to
good.
see where something went.
Great. Which tag do you have, Julia?
I have the moose. I'm sorry,
The deer?
the deer.
Great. Yep. Yeah, that's a really fun one. I like the plaid background for the gift card. I think that's a neat
Yeah.
kind of rustic touch. And because they're embossed, they have that little black shine, which is so nice.
Right.
I think
And
it's
I used the dimensionals to get it to stand out a little bit.
great. Great. Yeah, for the greeting there, if you have the dimensionals, that will help you. And then again, for the gift card or little cash or photo, whatever you decide to put in. Okay. All right. We're going to finish tonight with our book fold card that I've had a lot of fun with different supplies. And I wanted to share with you let's see, let me move that out of the way first. This one that I've completed ahead was what we call a monochromatic card, because it just has this lovely mint color, mint melody, or a succulent green color, and black and white. So the black and white are the neutrals, and then 1 pop of color. And that's a really fun, especially if you have limited supplies. But even when you have endless supplies, it's often nice to simplify this way, black and white and a pop of color. So this designer series paper that I chose for you, I love because many of the designs have black and white on one side and then a pattern of color on the other side. So it seemed to work to complement really well. If you like the black and white more, when you fold your paper, you're just going to fold it opposite ways. So right now it's set up for you to fold. There are 4 score lines. And let me tell you the dimensions because it's kind of cool. If this is one you might want to recreate. The dimensions for the pull-out book fold are 5.5 by 11 DSP. And DSP is short for designer series paper. And that's the pretty paper that we love to use and that crafters like to call specialty paper or designer paper, decorative papers. Typically it's sold in sheets that are 12 by 12 inches. So it's great because it gives you this longer, actually I wrote 11, but it's not 11. Let me correct that. It's 12 inches. And I'm glad we were talking about it so I could tell you that, fix that. 5.5 by 12 inches. So that's what's fun about the designer series paper. Standard cardstock is 8.5 by 11. So you have a little bit less to do that special kind of fold. So I really enjoy playing with 12 by 12. And then there are 3 score lines, 1 at 1 3/4, 1 at 4 3/4, and 1 at 7 3/4. And then this is how you decide which color you want to show. If you want to have the black show more, then you'll have that larger piece be over on the right when you're folding, and then you'll accordion fold backwards, backwards, backwards to have the mint in the front. So you can see here are the 2 variations.
Can you show that fold again? I'm confused.
Yes. Yep, I can. So I did the scoring for you already. I think it's a little easier to see on the polka dot side. So I'll show you that. Okay. There it's scored at 1 3/4, 4 3/4, and 7 3/4. So the largest piece is the back of the card or the base of the card. So that's going to be the first one that we have flat here, and then we're going to fold over. Now to make the inside pages, the accordion part, see, we're going to have like a W fold is how we're going to end up. So I'm going to go backwards on my fold. And then the last one will be this 1 3/4 inch piece.
Got it.
Okay. And then the pieces that are pre-cut for you in your kit that I made for you are white and black. And again, I chose that just to be clean and simple. And because these really beautiful embellishments I could give to, everybody got a whole bunch of these. Don't they look like the candy dots we used to eat? Aren't they fun, Julia?
Oh, yeah.
They're a good birthday. I wish I had even more for your birthday. They are sparkly and they remind me of those candy dots that we used to eat when we were little. But these are even shinier. They're kind of look like glass almost. And so I was delighted that the green is a nice match with the paper, and that on the card that I'm going to demonstrate with you, we're going to use some of these colors that pull out the colors from the other pieces. So when you decide how you want to decorate your 3 pieces, consider this green, right? Because that's kind of non-negotiable. Like all the paper is the same in everybody's kit. It's the green and black. But however you embellish and color and stamp on these 3 pieces, that will influence maybe what other colors you include. They're kind of sherbety colors. I really love them. So this one I used a stamp set called Just My Type for the typewriter. And it is a really fun stamp set that has some great greetings in it too. It has the for you, thank you, it has a hi. And then it has this great one that, did we use it last time? I can't remember, the one about the rainbows. Wishing you sunshine and rainbows. It's a fun stamp set. And then the other one that I sneak peek with you last month too was this bird's eye view, which because we're fun book fans, book lovers of books, I thought it would be fun again to show off this bird's eye view. So I pre-stamped and colored these, but I'm going to do the middle panel with you. So let's go ahead and we'll put the panel. You're not going to glue your white to your black until you've decorated your white. A good rule of thumb is you do your stamping and coloring first, and then you glue. And one reason for that is, let's say I had an oops on this and I spilled or I smudged it or something. If I didn't glue it down yet, I could just flip it over, right? And use it. But if I've already glued it down, then I'm like, oh, I feel like it's more frustrating. And you all know it's just ink and paper and we don't need to be worried about it, but I don't like to waste stuff. So that's kind of would be a little bit frustrating. You could always, there's no mistakes in stamping, only opportunities for layering and embellishing. So if I did have some smudges here, I could, one trick is add more smudges, make it like I did it on purpose, that it's kind of like a vintage look or something. Or I could cut this out and that mount it on another piece. So there's very rarely a time when you have to kind of abandon a piece of art. It's fun to challenge yourself to incorporate it and celebrate it and do something fun with it. Okay, and then my thank you one is ready. I'm gonna put that one in there, but then we're gonna do a little stamping together. I wanted to share with you a technique called masking, and what that allows me to do is give dimension to things. So I have 2 stamps here. I have a larger bird and a smaller bird. They could be a mom and baby, or Aunt Missy and a little cousin Claire, my niece. But right now, I don't want them to be stamped far apart on the paper. I want them to be kind of snuggled up, ready to read some books. So I want it to look like little Claire is just tucked right up by Aunt Missy. So whatever I want to be in front when I'm layering stamps, I'm going to stamp first. So first we'll stamp little Claire right there. Okay. And then we need to, before I stamp Aunt Missy, if I did it on top, you'd see it would be right in front of Claire, right? There'd be this blurry spot. So I need to protect this piece with a little mask. And to make a mask, you take a little sticky note. I'm going to stamp the little bird on this, the part of the sticky note that has the sticky there on there. Okay. And then I can cut it out. Let me find, here's my paper snips. Okay. So I can cut out this sweet little owl. And what's going to happen is it's going to make a mask to protect this area so that it doesn't get the ink from the big stamp on it. And let me know if that makes sense, or I can try in different words, but it's called masking because we're going to cover it, mask or cover that up. So now I've got the little bird underneath there, and I can stamp the big bird overlapping it, because the overlapping ink is going to go onto the mask instead of the bird underneath. Let's see if I can peel it off. Ready? Ta-da!
Wow.
Isn't that so much fun? Oh, I love your expressions. Isn't that really cool? So ta-da, we've got it. We masked off to protect it. We peel it off. And then now it looked like that was one stamp, right? It looked like I had my big bird and my little bird all as one stamp instead of two. So that's a very fun technique called masking. Oh, you've made my day with your responses. That's great. And I think, won't this be fun to have these three images here? I can have for my card when it kind of has the explosion factor. I'm going to be able to see a lot of different artwork. So I've gone ahead, I've watercolored my first image. Let's watercolor these friendly Aunt Missy and little Claire. I'm going to use our new set of watercolor pencils. These are really great. I shared them with you last time too. You don't have to use water with them. They're a vibrant pigment ink that you can, or not pigment ink. What would you call that? It's not really called lead, is it? What do you call watercolor pencil insides? I'm not sure.
I'll see if I can find out.
Okay, yes, I'm asking the right person because you're a great research librarian. Thank you, Julia. So I'm going to just scribble some color in here because I am going to add water to it. So I don't need to do the images really solidly, but I could. Let's say I'm going to scribble in here, and you don't have to wet it. You can just have it be like that. It's a little bit of a waxy look and a little bit of shine to the color. So you can be more precise and color in very solidly like this if you want to do that. Just kind of show you how you can start to do that. But what I'm going to do is make it messy and scribbly, because I'm going to bleed those colors together. And I really tend to favor these corals and pinks and reds. I was going to say lately, but I think I always favor them, or greens. I love greens, but these corally, and then with a little bit of the bright yellow in there. So I'm just going to scribble, and where Stampin' Up has made some darker lines for me, I want to go darker, heavier with my my pencil there, so that's the kind of shading that the artists at Stampin' Up already planned for this area to be darker, because they put those dots in there.
So they call it either pigment or the core of the pencil.
The core, okay, the core of a water. So pigment maybe is okay to say that. The core of the watercolor pencil. And as you can see, they're very smooth. So if I wanted, I could just color very solidly and boldly with the pencil. But like I said, I want to show you how fun it is to bleed them together. So I'm going to just scribble a bunch of colors in there. We have a really pretty color called Fresh Freesia, which is this like lavendery, pinky lavender color. And I'm going to add some of that in there too. This is not watercolor paper tonight. Last month, remember, we played with watercolor paper. This is actually just our basic white cardstock. And so what I've learned with that is it's harder to add more color to this after it gets wet. With watercolor paper, I can keep going, right? It's very porous. I can do a layer of water and color. I can let it dry. I can add more to it. But if I do that with this kind of paper, it will tend to pill. it's just not designed to be really wet. So I'm going to take my water painter. Let's see, here it is. So hopefully you have yours if you in your art supplies from last time too. These are really fun to work with. I'm scribbling it on my scrap paper just to make sure it's wet enough, but not so sopping. And then I'm going to try to do it a little closer to camera here. I'm going to just bleed it around and see how it's making it like a tie-dye ink almost. So I prefer that to this. I think it looks, I feel more artistic using this tool too, but I also think that it really looks like a painting. So I'm going to go, because these colors are all pretty similar, I don't have to be super careful. When I colored my books, I had to take my time a little bit more because I'll show you there are different colors here.
So Trish on Facebook is saying that your tip on masking was really helpful.
Oh, I'm so pleased. I'm really glad. It is kind of like magic because it just opens up all kinds of opportunities for how you'll use your imagery. For example, we could stack loads of books here. We could just keep stacking up lots of books. The card that I made for Julia, I stamped a bunch of the books and I cut them out and layered it like a collage. So that's how I built it up high. But the masking one, because you could do that with the birds too, right? I could cut out a little bird and put it in front. But when it's all just
can I show
level
that
like that?
Can I show off the card?
Oh, please do. Yes, thank you, Julia.
So I like that the books, they're layered and they're slightly different.
It's like, yeah, they're kind of vintagey looking. They're on watercolor paper. And then it just has, I wanted there to have a lot of place to write. So it has several pages. There we go. The books that Julia recommended, the author, are historical fiction, and some of them are like from the 30s or the 20s. And I just loved this vintagey paper. It kind of made me think of that Art Deco-y kind of time. So I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I do.
It's fun to make. All right, so we'll finish this one up together. I'm going to use a little bit of my Tombow glue. You know, sometimes it gets tired. I have to tap it to get it down again. There we go. But just want a little thread or dot, not a lot. And add it to the black. And I'm going to leave this space around it so that I can do some writing for when I send the card to someone. But you could always do more coloring with the watercolor pencils, mask some more birds. You know, there could be a whole family around the bigger bird if you wanted lots of little kids. So lots of possibilities. I am going to add one more stamp though. It's this little envelope, and I like this because I like to not just make cards, I like to also send them. And also because I think it will be a way for me to add a little color to this one if I add a little gem sort of as a closure, like when they have those wax seals for cards and things, it reminds me of that. So now we'll go back, we'll take our card base, and basically now we've got 3 places to put the rectangles. Here we go again from here. Now my friend Cindy came up with a really brilliant plan, because when I first made this card, I put the one on the front, and then I kind of had to like figure out, okay, where does the one behind it go to line up? And she said, start with the back, and then it's easy. So I'm going to put my 3rd page, my last page, I'm going to put that into the card first. And it's easy to see that thread of glue on the black cardstock, just a little bit of glue. And you can center it or put it a little bit higher than center is kind of how I like it to go, but you can use the materials any way you like. There we are. So now when I put this middle one with the little Claire and Missy, I don't have to think about how is it going to fit in there. I just line it up with this. So my friend Cindy from Hawaii, she's very, very smart. Now I know I don't want glue over here or it will seal up my page. So I only want adhesive in this section here. I can imagine that the black paper is going to go to about here. You know, it's going to be that rectangle shape. So I don't want to go over too far. Sorry, my glue. I love our glue, and what I remember to do and sometimes not remember to do is storing it upside down. It has two tips. This is the more fine tip, and then it has a tip that's kind of like the old-fashioned rubber cement. And that's really handy for spreading things. If I'm making books, sometimes I'll use that to really spread across an even glue. But because 86% of the time I use this thin tip, I try to store it upside down, and that way the adhesive is ready to go.
Now, why wouldn't you put the glue on the black paper instead?
Okay, I totally could have done that as
Okay.
long as I remembered to not put it here.
Yeah.
This much of the card is going to hang over,
Got it.
and I don't want it to get sealed shut.
I
So
figured there was
yeah,
a
either
reason.
way, you just have to be mindful to not go too far in that direction if you're putting it on here, or to not go too far in this direction. And believe me, I've had goofs before, so it can happen. But if you, it's the time where you need to let yourself slow down a little bit. I'm a fast creator, fast crafter, and it's important sometimes to just take a breath. So it's really great when you're with a friend, you can just pause and have a conversation. When it's just me stamping, I have to remind myself, okay, let's think through all the steps to make sure I'm not rushing. And then, because I don't want to be disappointed. Like I said, you can almost always fix an oops, but we spend time making something and coloring and taking our time, and we don't want to have it be messed up. Okay, there's the second one. Now the third one, this one I have to be really careful with my glue, because only this little part here is going to have glue. Only this little stripe here. Okay, so let's do that, and I will get my glue to go. Some people store their glue in a little shot glass or some other small kind of container, and that will really help you get it all out. I don't like to waste it, of course. So this will give me a chance to slow down, to talk with you. Sometimes you just get up and have a little snack. I know there's enough in here to finish this project. Okay, I'm gonna just be very careful to only put it about like 3/4 of an inch here, because I don't want too much glue. I'm going to line it up. And now I've got my little friend right in the front there. So, and he looks like he should be saying hello or hi. So let's add the stamp that says hi. And the stamps that are in that typewriter set, the font is typewriter font. So it just makes it all tie together nicely. So we've got hi, and then here I can write a message to my friend and then thank you. So to finish up, let's add some more bling, because these are such fun colors, and I chose intentionally some of my watercoloring to be those colors. So I think what I'll do is let's see, I'm gonna do some of the yellow. I'm gonna make a triangle. And I've got sort of a bigger, a smaller, and then another bigger we'll put down here. So that's just going to pull together the colors, and then we've got one in the inside too. So I hope you'll have fun with these. These there's the 4 colors, the 2 different sizes, and they're self-adhesive already. So they're ready to enjoy. Does anybody have any questions? So if you liked the way Julia's card opened and had like pages, that's where, instead of leaving this all the way open, you could put adhesive inside here. And that way it would be turning the pages of a book. It's up to you. For display purposes, I like having a big open one like this for somebody to put on their mantle or on their table. And Julia's, because I put extra pages in there, I like to feel like a book. Great. So we've got some fun. Yeah, there's Julia's. You can see what I did was just this middle fold here. I put some extra score lines so that it would be more of an accordion and there'd be more places to put writing. And I used my 3rd grade handwriting so that it would be old fashioned. And it's lots of fun. So let me bring back in our projects. And give you my very best wishes for the month ahead. Summer is zooming. I hope you'll all have a chance to come in to the library to see the new children's area. It looks marvelous. I'm excited to keep coming and seeing the changes as it continues to evolve. And kudos to Julia and the whole library team for making that happen. Tomorrow I will be at the library for our Let's Kit Together, and a quick sneak peek at one of the card choices. These are fun fold. They're called sidestep cards, and you make 9 of them, 3 different designs. Really fun for summer. So I have several of these kits available. I also have some fun Christmas kits and a few other choices that some of you have seen, and it'll be new to some of you, but the fold for this one is really fun. It's called a sidestep fold, and it folds flat to go in the regular envelope, but when it's on display, it really has a lot of pop. So if you can join me, I'll be there from 10 to 11:30 tomorrow. The $20 supply fee includes your full kit, so you can take home the stamp set and the ink and your supplies along with your completed cards. And this has been fun. Thanks for sharing time. I always look forward to being together on our second Thursday of the month. Next month, we'll be back to school, September, and we'll keep doing a little bit of holiday. One of the projects each month will be a little bit of a holiday teaser right up until December, but some fun autumn things and Thanksgiving things coming up too. Great. Thank you so much, Julia. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Julia. Okay.
Thanks
Bye, everybody.
Happy birthday, Julia.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.